Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Charitāmrita class. We'll begin with our prayers. Mama Jnanati Virandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Nritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharane. Nirvishesha Shundavadi Vashyatide Shitarani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shavasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome everyone. We are discussing from Chaitanya Charitāmrita Madhya Lila chapter 4 Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And in last class we discussed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is himself describing the glorious devotional service of Madhavendra Puri in such a wonderful way. And he's saying that how Madhavendra Puri is so fortunate. Dugdadan Chale Krishna Yara Dekha Dila. First time he showed him just to give him milk. And teen bar swapne asi yare agya koila. He came 3 times in the dream of Madhavendra Puri and he instructed him. And in this way, Mahaprabhu is glorifying that's Madhavendra Puri's devotion. And Madhavendra Puri is the Prathama Ankur in the Adi Lila. We discussed 9th chapter. Bhakti Kalpa Vrikshateho Prathama Ankur. Jai Madhavendra Puri Krishna Prema Pur. Bhakti Kalpa Vrikshateho Prathama Ankur. It is described there that Madhavendra Puri is the first sprout of devotional service, tree of devotional service. And he describes, Mahaprabhu says that Krishna, he showed him 3 times his own form, gave him instructions 3 times. And in this way, Mahaprabhu is glorifying Parama Virakta Mauni Sarvatra Udasin. He is Virakta Mauni, he is fearful of fame. So he runs away without thinking of his personal comfort. He carried Chandan all the way from Jagannath Puri to Ramuna. And Gopal became merciful. And he told, you offer this to Gopinath and I'll become pacified. That is the glory of love. Pragad Premere Swabhava Achar Nija Dukha Vigna Dirana Kore Vichar. That's a symptom of love. One does not consider personal inconveniences. And Prabhupada writes there, in any service, there will be 4 things: scarcity, discomforts, impediments, and unhappiness. But a devotee continues to serve in spite of all these things. Bahu parishram kori chandana remuna anila, ananda badila mane dukkhana ganila. He didn't count all his inconveniences. And Gopalji tested him to show his glorious devotional service to the whole world. Parikshat korite Gopal koila agyadan, pariksha koriya sheshe koila dayavan. So in this way, Mahaprabhu, he read the famous verse of Madhavendra Puri. Will begin from 191 verse, where Mahaprabhu is remembering very famous verse of Madhavendra Puri, and he glorifies this verse of Madhavendra Puri in a wonderful way. And he says this verse is like a moon. Ghasite ghasite yaiche malaya jasar, gandha vade taiche shlokera vichar. Just like when Chandan is rubbed, it increases the aroma. The aroma comes out when Chandan is rubbed. Similarly, when one considers the meaning of this verse, Gandha Bhade Taiche Shlokera Vichar. The more you consider the meaning of this verse, the more one understands the importance of this. Ratna Gana Madhya Che Kaustubamani, Rasakave Madhya Taiche Shloka Gani. Just like among all the Ratnas, Kaustubamani is the best. Similarly, among all the poetries, all the poems which deal with mellows of devotional service, Ras Kavya Prema Madhye, all the poetry which deals with the mellow of love, devotional service. This verse stands supreme. देश रस काव्य मध्य ए श्लोक तैचे ए श्लोक गणी. And what is the shloka? Only 3 people knows the meaning of this shloka. He says, "Ei shloka koriyache na Radha Thakurani, tara kripaye puriyache Madhavendra Vani." Only so this shloka was originally spoken by Radharani, Radha Thakurani, and by her mercy, it manifested in the words of Madhavendra Puri. दिवा गौर चंद्र इहा कोरे आस्वादन इहा आस्वादिते नाही आर नाही चौठजन. So only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood the meaning of this verse properly. No Chautajan, no fourth man. So who are the 3 personalities who understood the meaning of this verse? First of all, Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavendra Puri. No fourth man, no fourth person can understand this verse. And that's how this verse is so very glorious. And Madhavendra Puri recited this verse again and again. At the end, when he was about to leave this world, he was again and again reciting this verse. What is that verse? And he said, by reciting this verse, he attained perfection of his life. Shesha kale shloka patite patite siddhi prapti hoila purira shlokera sahite. Just by reciting the shlok again and again, Madhavendra Puri attained perfection. Nobody can understand the real meaning of this verse. We can read it, but what it actually means, what are the emotions behind this verse, only 3 people can understand. Radharani, Mahaprabhu, and Madhavendra Puri. What is that verse? Ai deen dayatranath he mathuranath katavalokasya hridayam twadalok kataram daita bhramyati kim karomyaham. Ai Deen Dayadranath, O my Lord, O most merciful Master, Mathuranath, O the Lord of Mathura, Kadavalokasya, when shall I see you again? Hridayam Tvat, Aloka, because I am not seeing you, my heart is greatly agitated, it become unsteady. Alok Kataram, Daita Bhramyati, O most beloved one, Kim Karomi, what shall I do now? So, Prabhupada writes the detail of our sampradaya. Where are we standing? He says, beginning from Madhvacharya down to the spiritual master Madhavendra Puri, that is Lakshmi Pati Tirth, there was no realization of devotional service in conjugal love. So there was devotional service, but no Madhurya Bhav. Madhurya Bhav was not there. They were worshipping Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, in Aishwarya Bhav. Madhurya Bhav was not there. It was Madhavendra Puri who introduced the mellows of conjugal love. And this was later revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he met the Tattvavadis when he was on South Indian Yatra and his tour to South India. That time Mahaprabhu met Tattvavadis and there he revealed this Madhurya Bhav of Madhavendra Puri. So what is this verse all about? When Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura, Radharani and all the Brajvasis, they were always in the mood of separation. And in that mood, they were constantly remembering Krishna. And this verse explains the mood of separation. And Prabhupada writes that the devotional service in separation is central to this verse. In fact, worship in separation is considered to be the topmost level of devotional service in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Service in separation. That is the topmost. In fact, it is considered to be higher than service and union. Because in service, in separation, the feelings are much more intense. And in that separation, the person is all the more with Krishna. So of course we can speak about it, but we cannot understand it. It is something which one realizes after getting purified, and that too a glimpse of it. So that is the mood of this verse. Ai deen dayatranath he mathuranath kadavalokasya hridayam tvat alokakataram dait bhramyati kim karomi aham. This is the mood of Radharani in separation. We hear in another verse, another place, Kaviraj Goswami describes the feelings of separation of all the Brajvasis headed by Radharani and the Gopis when they go to Kurukshetra during this solar eclipse time. And there Radharani is telling Krishna, she's seeing Krishna in royal attire, dressed as a king with all the jewelry and helmet and armor and having all the weapons, a crown, having a very wonderful sandal. So she is saying, he's same Krishna, and I'm the same Radha Rani, but still I'm not able to relate to this Krishna. Please come to Vrindavan. You don't remember Vrindavan? Vrindavan, Govardhan, Jamuna, Pulinavan, Sesabara, Sadika, Lila, Brajjanera, Brajjan, Mata, Pita, Bandhu, Gana, Pada, Chitra, Kemon, Pasarila. नागणी आपनार दुख देखी ब्रजेश्वरी मुख ब्रज जनेर हृदय विदरे कीबा मारा ब्रजवासी कीबा जियाओ ब्रजयासी केने जियाओ दुख सही मारे. So Radharani is telling that you don't remember Vrindavan. Okay, you forgot Vrindavan. How can you forget Govardhan? How can you forget Yamuna where we perform so many pastimes? How can you forget all the forests of Vrindavan and Braj where we perform Ras Leela? How can you forget Brajvasis? If you forgot Brajva, how can you forget your father and mother? Padachitra Kemone Pasarila, it is so very astonishing how you can forget all that. And she's saying, I am not counting my own pain. Nagani Apanar Dukha, Dekhi Brajeshwari Mukha. Just see the face of Mother Yashoda, she's crying. All the Brajvasis, they are troubled seeing her crying. Either you come back and revive, or you kill all of us. So that is the mood of Radharani and all the gopis. They are always serving Krishna in separation. That is higher. So when Mahaprabhu recited this verse, he fell unconscious in ecstasy, overwhelmed, no control over himself. He continued to chant. He started dancing, singing like a madman. He had no, control. He was making sounds, resounding noises, and sometimes was crying, singing, dancing. And he wanted to sing this verse, but he could speak only first two words, Ai Dina, Ai Dina. That's what he was singing on. He could not speak. And all the symptoms were manifesting. Kampa Shveda Pulakashru Stamba Vaivarnya Niraveda Vishada Jardya Garva Harsha Dainya. All these ecstatic symptoms were manifesting in Mahaprabhu. Kampa, trembling, sweating, perspiration, hair standing on end, shocking, and fading of the luster, nirved, disappointment, vishad, moroseness, jardya, pride also, sometimes joy. So Prabhupada, he quotes from Tirasami Sindhu, what is this jardya? Jardya means loss of memory because of the severe shock due to separation from the beloved. So if somebody is really suddenly separated, we can see some of, we must have seen some cases where some near one suddenly leaves in accident and the person is in shock, can't remember anything. So that is called as Jardya. So Mahaprabhu was experiencing all these symptoms. And when Mahaprabhu is dancing, all the servants of Gopinath, they are seeing this wonderful ecstasy of Mahaprabhu. So many people started crowding, seeing a beautiful form of Mahaprabhu manifesting all these symptoms. Mahaprabhu came into external consciousness. He controlled himself. Then the deities, they were laid down to rest. 12 pots of sweet rice was offered to the deities, and the pujari bought all these pots and gave all the 12 pots to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu took only 5 of them and returned back the remaining 7 for them to distribute among themselves. Mahaprabhu tasted all these along with his devotees. He honored that wonderful Mahaprasad sweet rice. In this way, Viraj Swami says that actually being identical with Gopinath, Mahaprabhu had already tasted the sweet rice, right? But because now he was in the mood of a devotee, he was tasting that sweet rice in the mood of a devotee. So tasting in the mood of devotee is something different because that is a greater happiness which a devotee experiences. That's why Mahaprabhu has come, Krishna has come in the mood of Mahaprabhu. Why? Experience the happiness which a devotee is experiencing. So Mahaprabhu is now tasting this sweet rice in the mood of a devotee as a Mahaprasad of the Lord, the remnants of the Lord. And in this way, Mahaprabhu passed the night there, and the next morning he took the Mangalarti darshan, he danced and glorified and offered prayers, and then he departed. Kaviraj Goswami at the end of this chapter, he gives the Falashruti. Veita khyane kohila tohara mahima prabhur bhakta vatsalya ar bhakta prema sima. So in this way, Kaviraj Goswami says, I have described you the transcendental glories of Prabhur Bhakta Vatsalya, Mahaprabhu's affection for his devotees, and Bhakta Prema Sima, an ecstatic limit of the love of God. Whoever hears this narration with faith and devotion, what will happen? Shraddha yukta hoya shuneye jan Shri Krishna charane se paye prema dhan. Shraddha yukta hoya se shuneye jan. Whoever hears this whole description with faith and devotion, what will happen? Shri Krishna charane se paye prema dhan. They get unalloyed devotional service unto the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. That is the falashruti of hearing this wonderful chapter of Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And that's how Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by offering respects to Rupa and Raghunath. Shri Rupa Raghunath Padeyar As Caitanya Caritāmrta Kahe Krishna Das. And that's how this chapter ends. So now we'll start the 5th chapter. Another very, very beautiful chapter, glorifying the activities of Sakshi Gopal. It is another very, very wonderful pastime where we can see the reciprocation of the deities with the devotee. How the Lord, in the form of the deity, reciprocates with the devotees. It is not an ordinary thing. Last chapter was also the same. And these 2 chapters are classic chapters which establish that Pratima Nahi Tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan, they are not ordinary stones, they are deep, they are Lord themselves. And Lord, he can do unimaginable things as a deity also. So the deity manifests in this world so that we can offer our love and devotion. And it is not to show the power. Sometimes people, they question, if the deities, they're all powerful, how can, somebody destroy the deities? In Mughals, they have destroyed the deities and temples a lot, many times. How is this possible? So you have to understand that Lord appears in the form of a deity not to show his omnipotence, but to give a chance to people in general to his devotees so that they can offer their love, to develop relationship with them. And these two chapters are very, very beautiful, sweet chapters where Lord as a deity form is reciprocating. One deity we heard in this chapter stole sweet rice. And then the next chapter, another beautiful chapter where Lord is so merciful. He walked all the way from Vrindavan in the form of a deity. He walked from Vrindavan to Vidyanagar in South India. So that is the chapter all about the activities of Sakshi Gopal. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives summary of this chapter in his Amritpara Bhashya. He says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he left Remuna, he passed from Jajpur and then he reached a place called as Katak. And there he went to visit the temple of Sakshi Gopal. And there, while he was there in Sakshi Gopal, he heard the story of Sakshi Gopal from Nityananda Prabhu. So Kaviraj Goswami, he begins his description of Sakshi Gopal by first offering obeisances to Supreme Lord, who in the form of deity traveled all the way from North India to South India. Padbhyam chalayya pratima swarupo brahmanya devo hishataha gamyam desham yayo viprakrite adbhuteham tam sakshi gopalam aham natosmi tam sakshi gopalam aham natosmi. Padbhyam chala, that deity walked all the way, Padbhyam chala, in the form of Pratima Swarupa, in the form of his deity, the Lord walked all the way. Brahmanya Devo, because he is the supreme Lord of Brahminical culture. Shataham, for 100 days he walked. 3 months, more than 3 months he walked. Who will walk? Why Lord has to walk all the way? He could have reached, he could have appeared, right? He could have told that devotee, you go and I will come. I'll appear there. No. To give assurance to the devotee that I am there for you. I am there with you. The Lord is walking all the way for 100 days. He is walking. Shataha Gamyam. Desham Yayo. He traveled throughout the country for what? Why? Viprakrite. For benefiting of Brahmana. This is a very, very astonishing, wonderful pastime. Adbhuteham. Not so. It is not a ordinary lila. Lord walking, that too so long. It is astonishing. Adbhuteham. Lord is, full of contradictory potencies. Virodha Bhanjika Shakti. One of the potencies of the Lord is Virodha Bhanjika Shakti. Lord can do all the contradictory activities. Lord can walk as a deity. At the same time, he is stationary. As Ishopanishad says, Tadejati, Tannejati, Tadadure, Tadavantike, Tadantarasya Sarvasya, Tadu Sarvasyasya Bahyataha. Lord is inside and outside, is near and far. Lord can do any contradictory, any wonderful activities. Even great thinkers, they get confused and bewildered seeing the activities of the Lord. Uddhavji is telling, Karmanyanihasya bhavo bhavasya te Durga Shrayothari Bhayat Palayanam Kalatmano yat Pramadayutashrama Svatman Rate Khedyati Dhir Vidamiha. So Uddhav is saying, Karmani Anihasya, there is nothing for Lord to do. But still he is working so much. Why? No one knows. He is unborn, but still he takes birth. Another astonishing thing. Bhavo abhavasya. He is the personality. Fear personified, fears him. But Durga Shrayothai Bhayat Palayanam, out of fear of Jarasandha, it seemed that he was fearful. He ran out of fear of Jarasandha and to shelter of fort in Dwarka in the middle of the ocean. मद्भयात् वातयोतोऽयं सूर्यस्तपति मद्भयात् वर्षाति इन्द्रो धति अग्नि मृत्युश्चरति मद्भयात्. He's running. कालात्मनो यत् प्रमदायुताश्रमः. He's surrounded by so many ladies, 16,000 wives. Swatman Rate, he's self-satisfied, surrounded by so many wives. Chidyati Dhir Vidanta. Even great sober people get bewildered. So Lord performs all these pastimes for one reason, to attract the minds of conditioned souls. Because people, they like miracles. Anything extraordinary attracts the mind of ordinary people. So therefore, Lord performs some extraordinary pastimes to attract the minds of people in general. That's the purpose Lord performs such pastimes. Otherwise, Lord doesn't have to perform pastimes for pure devotees, such miracle pastimes, because pure devotees, they know He is Lord. Pratimanahi Tumi Sakshat Prajendra Nandan, they know. But Lord performs such pastimes to increase the faith of faithless. And those who have small little faith, to make their faith strong, that He is there. You know, some people say in some villages, "Ye Jagrat Deva hai yahan pe." You know, so as if others are sleeping. So they have this conception, oh yeah, this deity listens, he fulfills the desire. So Lord performs pastimes, such pastimes to increase the faith of neophyte devotees. For pure devotees, it doesn't have to perform all these pastimes. But Lord orchestrates such wonderful pastimes so that a, a person with Komal Shraddha can become strong, understanding that deity is not different than the Lord. And of course, he performs these pastimes to glorify the devotees also, to glorify Madhavendra Puri, and in this chapter of Sakshi Gopal to glorify the devotion of this old Brahman and the young Brahman. Very, very wonderful pastime is about to, unfold. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Mahaprabhu, he walking and walking, he arrived at Jajpur. In the Jajpur, there is a river, near river Vaitarani. He took darshan of Varahadev in the temple there, offered respects, prayers, chanted, danced in kirtan, and he passed the night there. Next morning, he continued his travels, went to the town of Katak to see the beautiful deity of Sakshi Gopal. And as he saw the beauty of this deity, he was really overwhelmed. Actually, if those of you who have been there, it's a very, very beautiful deity with wonderful expression, sweet smiling expression, smiling face. Smita that is the deity of Sakshi Gopal. And again, Mahaprabhu, he was so very happy, started dancing, singing, chanting, offering prayers to the deity of Sakshi Gopal. And there, he stayed in the temple of Gopal and he heard about the wonderful pastime which Gopalji has performed from the lotus mouth of Lord Nityananda. So when earlier Nityananda Prabhu, he was traveling all over the India, he had come to this place and he had heard the story of Sakshi Gopal from the local villagers. And that's how now Nityananda Prabhu is reciting, describing the story of Sakshi Gopal to Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada writes the details about this deity. So currently, this deity is not in Katak. This deity is situated somewhere in between Khurda station and Jagannath Puri. It is in the middle. So Sakshi Gopal, he came, traveled all the way from Vrindavan to Vidyanagar, and then when Purushottam Dev, he had some argument and fight with the king of Kanchi, the area of Vidyanagar, the king. He had some debate because one time king of Kanchi, he came to visit. Actually, Purushottam Dev came to visit this king, and the king was very impressed. And he said, I want to give my daughter in marriage to you. So then Purushottam Dev accepted and he went back. And then this king, he sent his minister with a marriage proposal. So this minister, he reached Jagannath Puri on the day of Rath Yatra. And on the day of Rath Yatra, what does the king do? He has a broom in his hand. He's sweeping the road in front of Jagannath. Minister, he's thought, what type of king is this? He's behaving like a Shudra. How can we marry our princess to this, person who is behaving like a Shudra? He has no good qualities. He went back and told the king, we can't marry our princess to this king. He is Shudra. So the king rejected the proposal. Purushottam Dev became so angry. He waged a war against king of Kanchi because he thought this is an offense and insult to Lord Jagannath. I am serving Lord Jagannath and this person is thinking I am ordinary servant. This king, he told, Purushottam Dev told the king, if I defeat you, this king was a worshipper of Ganesh. I'll bring your Ganesh and put it behind my Jagannath. And if I get defeated, you can keep Jagannath ji behind your Ganesh. And it so happened that in the fight, this Purushottam Dev started losing. And then he started praying to Jagannath, what is this happening? Oh my Lord, I'm fighting for your sake and I'm getting defeated. And it is a long story how Lord Jagannath helped them they themselves came, Jagannath and Baldev themselves came as warriors and defeated this king. And as per the condition, this Ganesha and Sakshi Gopal and the deity of Radhakant. The three deities were brought from Vidyanagar and placed. So Ganeshji was placed behind Jagannathji, which is still there. And this deity of Sakshi Gopal and Radhakant, they were placed, in the temple of Jagannath. So now there is a wonderful prem kalaha between the two deities. There is a disagreement between the deity of Sakshi Gopal, Radhakant, and Jagannath. So both deities on one side and Jagannathji on the other side. They are the prem kala. So what is happening was when the pujaris they would offer the bhoga, they would cross the place where the deities were there, and then they would go to offer food to offer bhoga to Jagannath. Jagannathji complained to the priests and the king that these deities are eating my bhoga. I am not getting the full bhoga. Please, relocate them somewhere. So the king, he relocated Radhakant to the house of Kashi Mishra, where they are still there, Gambhira. And he located Sakshi Gopal to a place which is currently called as Satyavadi. And it is somewhere between Jagannath Puri and Bhubaneswar. So that is the whole story of how the deity moved from Jagannath Puri to Vidyanagar and then Vidyanagar to this Jagannath Puri temple, then Jagannath Puri temple to Satyavadi, the place where it is currently now. Then Nityanandru starts the story. Formerly in the village of Vidyanagar, there were two Brahmanas. There was an old Brahman and there was a young Brahman. They both went on a pilgrimage. They went to many places, Kashi, Gaya, Prayag, and finally they arrived at Mathura. In Mathura, they went to all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. They went to Govardhan. Prabhupada in the purport, he describes the 12 forests. He says there are 5 forests on the eastern side of Yamuna and 7 on the western side of Yamuna. So the 5 on the eastern side of Yamuna are Bhadravan, Bilvavan, Lohavan, Bhandervan, and Mahavan. And those who, 5, 7 on the western side are Madhuvan, Talavan, Kumudavan, Bahulavan, Gamyavan, Khadirvan, and Vrindavan. If you want to memorize all these, you have to visit our Govindas, because in the Govindas we have dosas in the name of all these 12 Vrindavans, 12 forests of Vrindavan. So, Prabhupada writes about that. And after visiting all the 12 forests of Vrindavan, these two Brahmanas went to a place called as Panchakroshi Vrindavan. What is this Panchakroshi Vrindavan? So Vrindavan actually extends from the town of Vrindavan up to Nandagaon, Barsana. And somewhere in the middle, there is a place of 5 kroshas, 5 kos, that is called as Panchakosi Vrindavan. And they stayed there. And what is this place? This is the place of Kalia Ghat, Keshi Ghat, Govinda Dev, all that area. That is called as Panchkoshi Vrindavan, the main Vrindavan. There, these two Brahmanas visited a beautiful deity of Sakshi Gopal. Gopala Saundarya Duhara Mananila Hari Sukha Paya Rahe Taha Dina Dui Chari. They were overwhelmed and attracted seeing the beauty of this Gopal deity, and they stayed there for 2 or 4 days. So the old Brahman, the young Brahman was assisting the old one. Very wonderfully he assisted. So much so that old Brahman had no, troubles in the entire yatra. Chota Vipra kare sada tahara sevan, tahara sevaya viprera tushta hoila man. Seeing the humble service of young Brahman, old Brahman became very pacified. That is actually the essence of devotional service. When you serve the devotees. So, an old Brahmana, he was so happy, so satisfied. He said, "You have rendered so many types of services. Even my son would not do it. You have assisted me so wonderfully. I did not feel any fatigue, any trouble. So therefore, I want to reciprocate. If I don't reciprocate, it will be ungratefulness on my behalf. कृतघ्नता है तुम्हार ना कोई सम्मान अतएव तुम्हारे आमी दीव कन्यादान." So what is reciprocation from my side? I want to give my daughter in marriage to you. So that is a great offer, because he is a very rich Brahmin. And a younger Brahmin, as he heard this, immediately he says, oh sir, please hear. This type of statement is very unusual. It never happens. Why? Mahakulina tumi vidyadhanadi praveen ami akulina aradhana vidyahi. See the dichotomy. You are Mahakulin, you are an aristocratic Brahmana, Dhana, Vidyadi Praveen. You are expert in knowledge. You are rich. And look at me, Kulin. I am a low class Brahman, poor Brahman. Dhana Vidyahin. I am not a poor. I am not educated. Also, so educated. I am just a simple poor Brahman. Prabhupada writes in the purport. In the previous times, even in current times, Prabhupada writes, an aristocratic family will never consider marriage with a common person. It's a question of a status. What will people say? What will society say? So, and no poor man would dare to marry a daughter of a rich man, because it is not possible to fulfill the demands. And what will society say? So, therefore, this when elderly Brahmana offered his daughter, he said, young Brahmana said, no, no, my own dear sir, not possible. He could not believe this. And then 2 verses he speaks very, very wonderful. This 23rd and 24th verse are beautiful verses. And this reveals the heart of this young Brahman. This reveals how this Brahmana was serving selflessly without any ulterior motives. Because he already knew that this person is a rich person, was not serving for any material benefits. कन्यादान पात्रामी नहै तोमार कृष्णे प्रीत्ये कोरी तोमार सेवा व्यवहार. He says, I am not suitable bridegroom for your daughter. Kanyadana patrami nahai tomar. Why am I serving you? Krishne pritye kori. I am just serving you for the satisfaction of Krishna. Because Krishna is pleased when a Brahmana is served. Prabhupada writes, actually both the elder and the younger Brahmanas were pure Vaishnavas. And the younger Brahmana knows that if I serve devotee, then I'll get mercy of Krishna. Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paiche Keba. Without serving devotees, what is the hope for a person to advance in Krishna consciousness? Because Krishna himself says, he tells Arjuna, oh Arjuna, if somebody says he's my devotee, he's not my devotee. If somebody says he's devotee of my devotee, he's actually my devotee. आराधनानां सर्वेषां विष्णुराराधनं परं तस्मात् परतरं देवी तदीयानां समर्चनं. Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati, of all the worships of Vishnu is best. And greater than worship of Vishnu is worshipping the paraphernalia. That includes the devotee. Paraphernalia of Vishnu. Ye me bhakta jana partha na me bhakta chute jana mad bhakta nam cha ye bhakta te me bhakta tamamata. Krishna is himself telling to Partha, Arjuna, oh Arjuna, if somebody says he's my devotee, he's not my devotee. Somebody says he's devotee of my devotee, is actually my devotee. That's why greatest of the personalities in Bhagavatam, they're asking what? Lord is appearing in front of him, standing and telling us benediction. And they are saying, please give me service of devotees. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama vikama manuya prapatan prasanga Kritvatmasaswararshina bhagavan grihita soham katham nu visrije tava pritya seva. Prahlad is telling to Narsimdev, oh my Lord, I was falling in this deep dark well of material existence. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe, because of my lusty desires, kama bhikama manuyaha, prapatan, or completely fallen. Kritva atmasat shura rishina, your devotee Narad Muni, he picked me up. How can I give up service to devotees? Katham nu visrije tava pritya seva. Therefore, service to devotee is the way to advance in Krishna consciousness. So this young Brahman knew this. Brahman sevaye Krishnera priti bada hoye, tahara santoshe bhakti sampada badhaye. He continues. Brahmana sevaye Krishnera priti bada hoye. Krishna becomes so very pleased when Brahmanas are served. And best of the Brahmanas are Vaishnavas, and Vaishnavas are served. Tahara santoshe bhakti sampada badhaye. And when Lord is pleased, he awards devotional service. That's what, in the case of four Kumaras and Jai Vijay, they had an argument, and Lord comes out and says, for me, Brahmanas are worshipable. I am ready to lop off my own arm if it is found hostile towards Brahmanas. I am able to destroy the sinful reactions of people because I am taking dust of Brahmanas on my head. Although although I am not attached to Lakshmi, Lakshmi is not leaving me because I am serving devotees. Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra renum satya shatakhila malam pratilapta shila na shri viraktim apimam vijahati yasya preksha lavartha itare niyaman bhavanti. This is how Lord is so very, um, served careful of serving devotees. And anyone who serves devotees, Lord becomes merciful to that person. So Prabhupada writes, because this younger Brahman served the elder Brahmana, Lord became the witness. Why he agreed to become witness? Because of service. Because this young Brahman served the old Brahman. If Krishna was not doing any marriage negotiation, what is the need for Lord to do all these material things? And why Mahaprabhu will hear this ordinary marriage, quarrel? What happens? It keeps happening in this world. Why Mahaprabhu, who is a renounced personality, will hear about this marriage dealing unless there is devotion in that, because it was exchanged between Vaishnavas. Otherwise, devotee is not interested in any place. Why we are discussing about Kurukshetra? Because Krishna is there. Otherwise, what is the use? There is why we are studying the history of the universe in Bhagavatam. So many histories are there. Why? Because Krishna is there. Because devotees are there. We are not interested in reading the history of the modern times. We are interested in hearing about the history of anything where Krishna is there, where devotees are there. Krishna Katha and Vaishnava Katha both are equally powerful, equally potent. Shrutasya pumsa suchirashramasya danvanjasa suribhirito arthaha tattadgunanu shravanam mukunda padarvindam hridayeshu yesham. Anybody who is endeavoring to hear from his spiritual master should hear from the mouth of spiritual master the glories of the devotees. Why? What is so special about devotees? They have Krishna in their heart. Padar Vindam Hridayeshu Esham. So therefore Mahaprabhu is hearing. Prabhupada writes, marriage arrangements are generally karmakand, and devotees are not interested in karmakand and jnanakand. He quotes Narottam Das Thakur, karmakand, jnanakand, kevala vishera bhand. It is a pot of poison. अमृत बोली जेबा खाए नाना योनि सदा फिरे कदर्य भक्षण करे तारा जन्म अधः पाते आए. If somebody gets into all that, he keeps on wandering this world. And then Prabhupada writes some of his heart. Some people are criticizing because we are conducting marriages. As a sannyasi, sannyasi is not supposed to conduct marriage. But why? Prabhupada conducted marriages. Prabhupada writes, it is not a karmakand activity because it is for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. We are giving all the facility to the people to take to Krishna consciousness. And in order to fix the devotees in concentration on the service, sometimes marriage is needed. And then Prabhupada writes that we have experienced that such couples, married couples, they actually render very important service. Prabhupada sent 3 couples to London and they did revolution. What some of the senior disciples of Saraswati Thakur could not do. Some sannyasi disciples. 3 married couples, they did spread Krishna consciousness. So therefore, we have to understand this is a wonderful transaction which is about to happen between 2 devotees. And transaction between devotees is not so ordinary. It can change the position of the deities also. So the deity changed his position from Vrindavan to Vidyanagar. Why? Because the 2 Vaishnavas were involved. So that's a wonderful story. So we'll continue. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Krishna Virat Goswami ki jai. Sakshi Gopal Bhagavan ki jai. Kirchor Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.